Today's lesson is on how to return serves using long pimples. If you're returning with the long pimples, you're at the mercy of the server to a great extent because you can't generate your own spin with the long pimples. So you need to be a little bit smarter with what you do. Against the backspin serve, the most effective thing that you can do is attack the ball. Now, with the backspin, the ball's already spinning in the right direction for you to attack it with the long pimples and send it back with topspin. So what you want to do is try and be quite firm and fast with your return of serve. Against a player that is experienced at playing against long pimples, against the backspin serve, they're going to be looking for you to push the ball because then they get a topspin ball that they're going to attack. So that's where you have to give them something a little bit different to look at. Off the short backspin serve, you want to cut down their time and flick the ball at them quite fast. Again, because of the backspin, hitting the long pimples, it's going to go back with a little bit of topspin. You've got a bit of margin for error to play with. So I want you to really force that return through a little bit faster to give them less time. So when playing against the backspin serve, the heavier the backspin, the better it is for you with the long pimples, because the backspin is going to make the ball go back with more topspin. So you're looking for the really heavy backspin serve to flick through. Now, having a bit of experience with the long pimples, you'll know that you need to come more forward on that ball and flick. So your stroke is much more of a forward flick and trying to get a little bit more speed and pace into it. Another alternative with the long pimples against the backspin serve is to almost jab the ball back and hit it really flat and fast through to them, which gives them less time and the ball really skids through because it's got no spin on it. Against the long backspin serve, the same principles apply. So you want to try and attack the ball. You can either attack it with a counter hit topspin type stroke because the backspin on the ball will convert to topspin for you. You can also jab the ball back with a flat bat to add a little bit of speed. It's not as effective as it is off the short ball because off the short ball you're giving them much less time. Off the long ball they've got a little bit more time.
So Alois, off the backspin serve with the long pimples, what's the difference between the counter hit type stroke and the jab?
Okay, so with the flick, what you're doing is you're putting a little bit of top on the ball yourself because the ball is spinning that way, and by coming up and using your wrist, you're getting a little bit of top on it. Okay. But with the jab, you're hitting the ball really flat and through fast. So the ball isn't going to have as much forward rotation, and it's going to skid through and just be a little bit harder ball for them to deal with.
Okay, so just slightly different effect on the ball.
Slightly different effect. And the stroke looks a little bit different. So with the flick, you're using your wrist. With the jab, you're not using your wrist. You're just using your forearm and your bat to push through, right through the ball. Okay, good advice. So out of the two, is one more difficult than the other? Should you start with one and then work to the other? Yeah, and initially start with the flick because that gives you a little bit more margin for error over the net. The jab is a harder stroke because the ball's going through very low and flat. You haven't got much margin for error.
Okay.
So let's have a look at your options now against the topspin serve. So if it's a short topspin serve, you can come down on the ball because then the ball's going to go back with backspin. You're going to be able to keep the ball quite low and make it a harder stroke for the server to make an attack. So coming down on the ball and putting backspin on the ball is probably your best option against the topspin serve. You can also come over the ball and flick through the ball, but remember, they've put topspin on the ball, so the ball is going to go back with a little bit of backspin or really flat, so you're going to have very low margin of error over the net. So the best option is to make the push. If they serve a long topspin to you, then you need to come down on the ball, try to generate a little bit more backspin on the ball. But the critical part is to get the ball low and to get the ball deep, so it makes it harder for the attacker to make that next ball. If you play the ball into the middle of the table, they're going to have a very easy stroke to play at you next ball. If they're going to serve long with topspin to you and you want to attack it, again, it's a possible stroke. It's a little bit less margin for error. So we need to think about just lifting the ball with a bit of your own brushing action to lift the ball up over the net. Remember, when they put topspin, it's going to go back with backspin. So you need to lift that up a little bit more. Just try to generate a little bit of forward rotation so it gives you a bit more margin for error on your stroke. Most serves are going to have some degree of side spin with them as well. Remember though, if they've got side spin with a bit of backspin, then go with the principles we've just showed you for the backspin serve. If they've got side spin with a bit of topspin, then go with the principles we've shown you with the topspin serve. The more side spin on it, the better it is for you, because the side spin will make the ball almost wobble, what they call wobble in the air, off your racket, and make it harder for the server to get a direct line on it. So the key to good returning with the long pimples is variation. Stick to your principles. When they serve with topspin, mainly pushing the ball. When they serve with backspin, mainly attacking the ball. But remember, because you're at their mercy, you can't generate a lot of your own spin yourself, you need to add some variation so that it's not predictable what return you're going to give them. That's the key to success with returning with the long pimples.